For the initial pen tool mission, there are 3 challenges to get you started. 3 challenges. So make sure you download the starter files, open up the first one, Pen Tool Challenge 1, and I'm going to get you started and also explain the expectations here. So, really quick, if we're looking at this Pen Tool Challenge number 1, here's a couple things to notice. 1, we have this single page document. You're going to learn how to trace these shapes. 2, look at the layers. This bottom layer right here is a template. You notice it's locked, so we don't move it, right? It's there for us to trace, kind of like when you're a little kid and you're tracing. And then we have a working layer right here, and that's unlocked. And we're clicked on that, so that's what we're going to use to work on. A couple other things to keep in mind here before you get started. There are some things up here, pen tool exercises. I'm going to take the magnifying glass right there, or zoom tool. It's with the Z key, right? So I can hit the Z key, Z on my keyboard, zoom in, hold my space bar, and we want to zoom in, maybe even more than that, maybe one more. I'm going to zoom in about this size on the pen tool challenges, okay? Here's the deal. Here's some things to keep in mind. I'm going to get back to my selection tool just so I have a pointer, but here's different versions of the pen tool. The pen tool when it does different things. So you'll notice these pen tool with these little shapes in the bottom right? Little symbols, and they're telling you it's doing different things, like starting a new path. That's when you begin a new line. Closing a path, when you connect one line to another line, right? If you already have a line started and you need to get back on it, you have add to or continue a path, right? One that's not already connected as a full circle, you can add on it. And then after you've created your path with the pen tool, you can add points or take points away, right? You may have gotten too many, or you may need to add one, so you can add an extra curve in there. It'll make sense once you start to get going, but pay attention that as you're using the pen tool, it has these different symbols. Down here, these aren't particular to the pen tool. These are part of the directions for the challenge, or to help you understand. When you see a blue circle, that means clicking, right? Just clicking on the mouse. Red circle, or clicking and pressing if you see a line, and I'll show you what that means. Drag a handle, right? And we'll talk about what a handle is, and dragging a handle of an existing anchor point, all right? So those are just identifiers. If you look down here at the little challenges, those are just identifiers of what these little circles mean, okay? One last thing before we begin. I'm going to select the pen tool right here, or P for pen tool. You should know this stuff from Illustrator Basics and doing your robot. The pen tool, as you can see, is going to be a path, right? So we want to have a stroke, but we do not want to have a fill until we're all the way done using the pen tool. The fill will cover up the lines as we go and make it really, really confusing. So remember, in your swatches panel, you have fill, which is that one, and you have stroke. We want to have a stroke, we don't want to have a fill. Also up here, you see it, fill, stroke, and then down here on the bottom left, fill, stroke. And if you remember, fill, if we don't want one, it's the red line, none. I'm going to come back to the stroke. You can use black, but I would prefer if you use a different color, something that stands out, right? So I'm going to pick a green for the first one. I'm on this working layer. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you do each challenge 3 times in different colors. Alright, so in working layer 1, you're going to go through this whole worksheet, or this whole challenge, and I'm going to get you started in the next video in one color, like green. Then you're going to lock that layer. You would then create a new layer, and then you would do it in a different color. And you might want to turn the one off as you're tracing it, right? The old one off when you have the new one on. So that's my kind of suggestion. Lock and hide it when you're done. new layer, different color. I'm going to look that you've done each pen tool challenge 3 times, 3 different colors.